Well, hello, I'm Nathan Jude. I'm joined by Wolves reporter Liam Keane. Liam, day off for me and you today. Not anymore. Wow, absolutely stunning breaking news. I don't think anyone saw this coming. It's an absolute shock. It's a shock to me, a shock to you. It's a shock to, I think, the majority of the fans. Nuno Espirito Santo will not be Wolves manager after this season. His last game will be against Manchester United on Sunday before he steps down. Initial reaction, Liam. I mean, I'm absolutely shell shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, we were just saying, weren't we, that it's just caught everyone off guard totally. What was it? An hour after the press conference had finished as well. Our colleague Lewis was looking after that today, and just no inkling at all it was going to happen, was there? It totally out of the blue, and I've been thinking about it the last couple of hours or so, and I'm sure we'll come on to this as well. But in some ways, perhaps it's not as much of a surprise as we could imagine. He's been away from his family. Some people would question whether he's taken Wolves as far as he could, or whether there was an appetite for the big, rebuild's about a strong word, but whether there was an appetite for the changes that are going to be needed to do this summer. So in some ways, not as surprising, but no one saw it coming. Particularly after a press conference just before the game Sunday, it took us all by surprise. I know it did with you as well.
Yeah, you're right. Look, it's been a disappointing season. Of course it has. And look, there are fans out there, and it's become more vocal that wanted to change, that wanted to see a different manager. However, 12th position as they are at this moment in time, a plethora of injuries, a global pandemic. They missed out on European football this season by goal difference. They could have been playing, again, back-to-back sevenths, a championship went into the Premier League. To do that in the 4 years, it is quite remarkable. And I think when people take stock of what he has actually achieved at this club, he will go down as one of the greatest Wolves managers of all time. That's absolutely for certain. And it's always got to come to an end. He has to come to an end at some point. But I think the majority of fans are very disappointed, very saddened, because he is an excellent coach. He's an excellent manager. And, going forward to next season, as you say, it is kind of a rebuild. I think it's a big rebuild now when you've got a new manager to hire, which we'll come on to in a minute. But I think everyone, 99% of fans, will remember Nuno Espirito Santo very, very fondly.
Without a doubt. I'm 24, and for me, he is the best Wolves manager I've known in my 24 years. I know a lot of fans older than me are saying the same thing as well. 100%, without a doubt, is one of the greatest managers in Wolves' history. In just 4 years, he will go down as that. I truly believe that. And look at the moments he's given Wolves fans over the years as well.
Amazing.
That season in the Championship, going away to Cardiff, away to Bristol City even as well. That game was an incredible game. Winning the league and doing so relatively comfortably as well, to be honest. And then coming up and, as you say, 2 7th finishes, going away to Turin, go all these cities across Europe and having big performances away at these big teams in Europe and having memories. Obviously, as I say, Turin, so playing Torino and all these moments for Wolves fans. So it's going to go down as a really golden era for the club, particularly after so many years of championship, up and down, yo-yoing between leagues, really. Obviously going down to League One, plenty of mid-table, mediocre championship seasons. Obviously, Mick McCarthy was the last time Wolves were in the Premier League before Nuno, so it's going to go down as a great time, and the chapter's closed, and it's time for Wolves to build further off the foundations that he's laid.
I think when I remember Nuno as well, it's a few of the Portuguese people, he comes and he's a deep thinker, and you can see him. He's very analytical, and for someone, and his demeanour is very quiet, very assured. But then when you see him on the pitch and you see his enthusiasm and you see him running on, especially in those early days, and jumping on players and Cody and Sace and giving it to the fans, you couldn't help but be taken. He just embraced the city, he embraced the country, he embraced the players. and the club. And I think that that's what I will remember, is that this wasn't just a job for him. It was a love affair, really. And it's such a shame it's come to an end, but he can hold his head high, because Wolves are definitely, without a shadow of doubt, in a better position than when he took over.
Oh yeah, 100%. And yeah, as you talked there, the love affair between him and the fans. The murals of him you can find across the city. They speak 1,000 words, don't they, about how much fans appreciate and love what he did for the club. Of course, as you've already mentioned, there's some fans that were becoming slightly disillusioned with some of the decisions this season, some of the performances. But with the mitigating circumstances of injuries and COVID and things like that, it's been a difficult season for sure. And now Nuno's going to be able to see this season and his era as Wolves manager out on Sunday with fans, with 4,500 fans, and I think that's an important thing for him, because despite the result the other night away at Everton, just to have fans back in the building, he was feeding off that, and he'll be happy to at least be able to say some sort of goodbye on Sunday at home to Man United.
Yeah, and I think that'll be a sad thing for a lot of fans. I'm sure there'll be plenty in and around Molineux who haven't got a ticket, but that he won't be able to say goodbye properly to a full Molineux. But such is the nature of the beast. He's quoted. He's come out. He said he's released a press release. I'll just read briefly what it says. He said, "Since the first day we arrived at Compton, our ambition was to make a positive change and push this football club forward, and I am proud to say that we did that every single day. We achieved our goals, we did it with passion, and we did it together. Firstly, I want to thank the supporters who have played such an important part in helping us reach the new heights for Wolves, and the people of the city who embraced us and made us feel at home. I, of course, want to thank the staff at Wolves for their support and total commitment every single day. Most importantly, I want to thank each and every player that we've worked and with since that day we started, for their loyalty, their dedication, hard work and talent. They're the ones who have made the amazing journey possible for us. Sunday will be a very emotional day, but I am happy that the fans will be back at Molineux and we can share one last special moment together as one pack." And that's it. It has been a family at times, and I think that people will look back at this and people are very emotional about this, and you can understand it, because for such a long time these fans have had to suffer, and they've had to cope with fairly pretty insipid average years as fans. And this was, whether it's up or whether it's down, whether you're winning, you're losing, they've had some amazing memories. And look, it's going to end on Sunday. Of course, there's going to be a new regime. There's going to be a new manager who's going to be in charge. We'll discuss that in a minute. But he is he's a special guy. He is a special guy. Some people call him the special one. They take the mick out of Jose Mourinho, but he's kind of taken that mantle, and I think he's going to be up there, and he's going to be in plenty demand. Nuno says he hasn't got someone to go to. He hasn't got a club to go to straight away. I know he's been installed as the new favourite for the Spurs boss. That's a pretty easy one to make a case for. But he feels like the cycle had come to an end. Do you feel that the cycle had come to an end, Liam?
I'll be honest, I do actually. As much as I totally appreciate and love what he had done for the club, I do feel like it's one of those. Had it been my decision to say to sack him, I wouldn't have. But the fact that he's seemingly made the decision alongside the club to mutually agree to step aside and move on, it seems like a healthy way of doing it, and it seems potentially a healthy way going forward for Wolves. However, I also think, and I'm stuck between a sort of catch-22 situation here, that I also think that we may look back on this and in a few years' time and think Wolves have let a good thing go. Because it may not be the kind of success we've experienced in the coming years. So, but I feel with the squad that's there now, the difficult season he's had, what's needed in the summer, perhaps a fresh pair of eyes, fresh ideas, a fresh impetus will do the club some good. And as I said, we may regret that. We may change our minds in a couple of years, but. It did feel like the cycle, which is the right way to describe it. It felt like the cycle had reached a natural point for me, I think. And as you say, he won't be devoid of suitors, will he? He'll have opportunities out there, and I'm sure he'll be a great success as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the pessimist person might look at it and say, look, it's been a difficult season. You've got you still got Traore to potentially sign a new deal. You've lost a lot of your players. Jimenez might not be hopefully he's the player to come back. You've got Pedro Neto's going to be out for quite a while. It could have been you've got a season of uncertainty. You don't know how many players you're going to get over the line. It could be a sticky start to next season. You don't know that, and his stock is still very, very high at this moment in time. Look, he signed a new contract in the summer. He's still got 2 years left in that contract. So Wolves have had to, and Jeff Shee, I'm sure they've had to have some negotiating there because, end of the day, you sign a contract. I know the contract's not worth the paper it's written on these days, but at the same time, I think that's the shock is that he signed a new deal and still got 2 years to run on that contract.
Yeah, for sure. That's what it took. That's why it took everyone totally, out of the blue, didn't it? It was a huge surprise. The wording from the announcement is that it was a mutually agreed, as you say there. They've had to come to some sort of agreement. It just seemed to me, I don't know what you think. It seems to me that this has probably come from Nuno's side, that he feels the time and the era has come to a natural close. And it's that was sort of reflected as well in Jeff Shee's comments, to say that every chapter has an ending, and it's time to move on to the next one. The owners have still got ambition, haven't they, to do big things with Wolves, and no doubt there'll be some big names and some good names linked to the job as well.
Yeah. And look, I guess they've got one right out of three. You look at Paul Lambert and Walter Zenga. They needed someone to stick, don't they? And goodness me, they got one. So this next appointment is going to be huge. Bruno Lage is the favourite, the current heavy favourite. Former Benfica manager. Rafa Benitez is second. Steven Gerrard is third. Of course, of Rangers. Paulo Fonseca, the former Roma manager. Frank Lampard. Eddie Howe. What do you think? I mean, obviously it's very, very early days, Liam, and I'm sure this is going to change significantly, but it seems like Lager's the favourite at this moment in time. Do you think he would fit the bill coming into Molineux? I mean, I guess he ticks a lot of the boxes that Nuno did.
Well, he does. He ticks a lot of the boxes Nuno did, but it depends whether the club is going to want, someone of a similar ilk as Nuno to come in, but someone also who has got less experience than Nuno did when Nuno arrived. Nuno had been at Porto, he'd been at Valencia, he'd been at good clubs. So it wouldn't be the direction I would go in personally. It's a strange one because people might not agree with this, but of those names, Rafa Benitez jumps out to me straight away. I've always rated him as a manager. I think he's a very, very good manager, and he is similar to Nuno in some of in terms of style as well. He's very, very industrious. His style. Wants to keep the back door closed and build from there. So he jumps out at me straight away. I think with the system and the players that are at the club, he would be able to forge something relatively easily and add his own touches to it. But then there's some other names that are going to crop up constantly all the time. I mean, Steven Gerrard, I'd be very surprised. I think he's a shoo-in to leave Rangers and get the Liverpool job in the next 2-3 years. Frank Lampard again, it's inexperience. Having an unsuccessful few months at Chelsea doesn't really fit the bill really for me. So there's a lot of names that are going to come to the fore. What's the name of the chap again? You just mentioned him there. The other Portuguese chap who was at Roma before. I'm trying to remember his name.
Paulo Fonseca.
Fonseca, that's it. I could have for the life of me remember his name. He also sticks out for me as a much better option than the favourite because of the experience. He's done a good job at Porto. Has got experience elsewhere, as you mentioned. So there's going to be a lot of names flying around. It's going to be interesting.
I like to go further down these ones to see the crazy ones. Let's have a look. Dyche 20-1. Vieira 25-1. Gareth Southgate 33-1. John Terry 33-1.
Don't think so.
It's Andre Villas-Boas is in there as well. I mean, look, there's a lot of people you can kind of understand where the bookies are going with this. But
also as well, if I could just say as well, I don't want to completely write someone off just from the bookies, because you look at Nuno's track record before he arrived at Wolves. He wasn't, even though he's experienced or relatively, he lost the job at Porto because of too many draws and lost the title. Ended up losing his job to Gary Neville at Valencia. He wasn't unbelievably successful by the time, in terms of managerial success, by the time he arrived at Wolves. So it doesn't mean that the person who comes in has to be a title winner. They're going to build something, aren't they? They're going to have something to build off with a good basis of a squad, and they're going to have funds to back them hopefully as well. So it's going to be an attractive job for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing is, I guess what Nuno had, I guess what this manager who's going to come in has got is that there's got high expectations now. When Nuno came in, they flirted kind of a relegation, I guess, and were fine, and then he took them up in the first year, and then it's gone on from there. Whereas you've set that bar now, so the fans are now expecting. They want something to happen. They want to see. They like this success. They've got some world class players in there. They need some more players in there to make sure that they can make a run at the top 7 next season, I think, and to qualify for the Europa League again. So those, like I say, those levels are really high now. So this person who's going to come in is of course, going to have some time to bed in, but at the same time, the fans are pretty expectant now, and they're demanding, and so they should. They want to see good football. They want to see exciting football, but they want success on the pitch as well. So it's going to be very interesting. Do you feel that there could be, before we go, Liam, because I know you need to go on your day off as well, but do you think that this will be a quick appointment? Do you think they've got someone in line? Do you think this has just happened very recently and maybe caught them by surprise and they've had to put this statement out? Because, once the Manchester United game finishes, I assume they'll want to get someone in pretty quickly, because then they need to have a whole new transfer plan, because the players that they've outlined and the players that will have been discussed over the summer, do they go forward with those players that are from, what Nuno thinks? I'm sure they'll want to get someone else's or the new manager's opinions in, because he might see a completely different way of doing things.
Yeah, it's going to be a relatively quick process, you would imagine. As you said, they're not going to want to leave it too late and have transfer opportunities pass them by in the summer. That's a big part of this summer is the recruitment. So certainly they're going to need to do it relatively quickly, but find the right person. And we've already discussed about the discussions they would have had to allow Nuno to leave with 2 years on his contract left. So they'll have been aware, the people at the top, they'll have been aware this was happening, and they'll have ideas on where to move forward. And then I imagine once Sunday's game is out the way, it will be a case of pressing on, getting it done. But Sunday is got to, out of respect, you'd imagine Sunday will be getting out of the way first. Of course, it's less than 48 hours away, or actually 48 hours from around now, actually. So get that out the way, and let him enjoy that final moment, and then make a big change in the summer, and a big change to the squad, which we've already discussed are definitely needed.
Yeah, thanks very much, Liam. Nuno Espirito Santo, one more game before he leaves as Wolves manager. Stunning scenes. Liam, thank you very much, and I'll see you Sunday at Molineux.
Nice one. Cheers, pal.